Checking and corrections are encouraged. There you go.
We got a cup of coffee in here, please.
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
Good morning, folks. It is a Monday, your favorite day of the week. And time to wake up and see the blah, blah, blah. Yes, the blah, blah, blah. Long Island, New York has become like a Lon Chaney movie from like the 40s. Been black and white for 3 days here. Anyway, you probably aren't interested in the local Long Island weather, but I like to give it to you anyway. Today, we are going to meet Nancy Sirianni, who is a singer-songwriter, actor, and producer, and also had the probably horrible experience of being married to Jackie Martling for many years. I can't imagine what that must be like. Hey, I mean, nonstop jokes and forever and ever, every day, 24/7. But it will be an honor to bring Nancy in and get to meet her and learn about what she's doing here on Long Island, music-wise, currently. I want to start off with Twitter. Listen, the world has gone mad, and the world has gone mad. Donald Trump, our former president, it's so hard for me to even say that. Our former president, Donald J. Trump, tweets like a madman on Truth Social, but his truths make it over to Twitter quite often because there are people watching his account, taking everything he writes and showing the world. Problem is, a lot of people have been faking tweets of his and posting them on Twitter. And to be honest, the parody stuff and the real stuff are both so batshit crazy that you can't tell the difference. And Liam Neeson, the actor Liam Neeson, posted this morning. Blah from Donald J. Trump, former president of the United States of America. I might keep that in mind. The tweet, and this is, I'm not just interpreting here. I'm just reading word for word what the tweet says. Blah, 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 bullshit, 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 blah, 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 bullshit, 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 blah, 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 bullshit, 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 blah, 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 bullshit, 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 blah, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. It doesn't even have good meter. Blah, 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 bullshit, 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 blah, 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 bullshit, 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 blah, 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 blah. Now, normally I would say this is just parody. Somebody's just, because his communications are crazy every day. Somebody's just making fun of the fact that his communications are crazy all day. Liam swears this is a real communication put out by the former president of the United States of America. He felt it important that you should know. Blah, 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 bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. And every day it gets worse. And the grip on reality and the inclination to drive the cult into more violence is becoming worse and worse. I don't know. I'm not attesting to the fact that this is real just because Liam Neeson says it is. But it certainly wouldn't surprise me at this point. And you can't tell, and that's the problem. If you can't tell how crazy this man is, and if you can't tell if you're looking at parody or reality, we're in a tough place in America. And what are the other options? And we can get into that, and it's just like a mess. So what do you do? How do you stay hopeful? How do you stay optimistic? I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Anyway, it's time to get on with the show. We can get on with the show. Blah 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 blah. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Um, Nancy Sirianni is a singer, songwriter, actor, as I said, and a producer, and she's from right here on Long Island, New York. She's got a thing coming up this I want to say April 30th, which is come on. How far is that into the future now? Today is the 17th, April 17th. It's actually a Sunday. It's 2 Sundays from now, right? Or yeah, wait, yes, 2 Sundays from now. It's getting difficult to keep track of this. It's called a Song Break, and it's songwriters and conversation. Almost, I kind of want to equate it to something that I used to love. Storytellers on VH1 Behind the Music, where they'd have some of my favorite singer-songwriters discussing their songs. You don't get that a lot anymore, but this will be a good show. It's here. It's locally in Huntington, Long Island, as I mentioned, Sunday, April 30th. In the afternoon, it's, I believe, 2 to 3:30 p.m. at the birthplace of the fabulous Walt Whitman. Anyway, let's open our ears, open our minds, and welcome in Nancy Sirianni to Coffee with the Dog. Nancy, welcome.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm well. Good morning. Thank you for getting up early to be with us. I got to change this background here.
My honor, pleasure.
So, before we get started, Jackie Martling, you were married to him for how long?
We were together 20 years. We were married 14 years.
And how was that on your psyche and mental condition?
Jackie's a good guy. We're still good friends. Who knows what went wrong?
He is a doll, but he's also, I can't imagine like being with him 24/7. But congratulations on a lot of
He
things.
definitely was not on all the time. You know,
Okay.
a comic, a performer in general, but a comic especially. They're not telling jokes 24/7.
Right.
Yeah.
Now the thing you got coming up, Song Break.
Yeah.
That started during COVID, yes or no?
Yeah. Linda Sussman, 2 songwriters, Linda Sussman and Josie Bello. They started, I was asking Linda about it, and they started, I don't know if it was Zooming each other, however they connected online to write songs together and to collaborate. And they ended up inviting another songwriter on, and it ended up to be a discussion, and they opened it up to online questions as well. And this is the first time they're doing that live. But yeah, the whole thing began in COVID.
Now this is interesting to me because you're not kids. Let's face it. and,
Far from.
And our generation, the boomer generation, which I want to talk to you about as this conversation goes on, is not necessarily technically savvy, not necessarily even though lockdowns and all that stuff, not necessarily going to be attracted to computer-based entertainment, right? So how did that? How difficult was that as a promotional effort, or to get people to even try it out or know what the hell you were offering?
I wasn't involved with that, but I know that when I did, because I'm an actor as well, and I did a play on Zoom, where we had all the characters just on screen together. And I guess when somebody was speaking, maybe it would just go to the one. I mean, I became accustomed to Zoom during COVID and used it quite a bit. And I know how to follow a link. But yeah, I like to sit down with my guitar and play to an audience.
I get it, but not even so much from the performer perspective. It's just getting audiences to our age. Not again, it's not kids. Kids will do. Oh yeah, snap on
Right?
internet live stream. They know what you're talking about the minute you bring it up.
It's
But for
definitely
people,
easier. Yeah.
yeah, for people, and so I'm gonna get into the boomer discussion here, but because our music, it was very diverse. Yours seems to lean more towards jazz than folk. The people you're performing with at the Walt Whitman birthplace in a couple of Sundays seem to lean more towards folk. And traditionally, I mean, you think about jazz and folk are from two very different schools, and there's some not crossover. It's not it doesn't flow together easily for me. But that whole none of that is accepted in today's music. Today it's all dance music or dance oriented pop, and everything's got to have a beat. The boomer your crowd. I'm gonna assume it's people
Older.
yeah,
I,
55
I really
and old.
I really think that the generation that we came from produced the most amazing music ever, right? So rock and roll still is rock and roll, even though it's 50 years old
Right.
or whatever, right? I mean, and I know some young kids, I have a lot of respect for them because they love uh, the vintage rock and roll, and they're still listening to it. So I think there's a wide range of ages as far as an audience goes that still listen to folk and I think folk and jazz, like because I write folk songs with some jazz chords, and that's where the crossover comes in. I'm not saying I play jazz at all because it's not that.
But you use jazz instrumentation as well, so that lends to the flavor of a jazzing too. I mean,
Sure.
stand-up bass and some winds on different solo parts. That's not necessarily a folk thing, right? Or is it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's everything crosses over. I don't do strictly anything, and I don't listen to strictly anything. So,
Yeah.
you can be listening to old Joni Mitchell, and it's sometimes it's folk and sometimes it's jazz, and
Yeah,
uh,
that's a good example. Uh,
I mean, you could listen to Pearl Jam, and sometimes it's just a guitar and vocal, and sometimes it's heavy rock and roll.
yeah.
I like it.
Craig Johnson, who is a friend from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and there's a comedian, Billy Wayne Davis, who on Twitter we know him, and he's been on this program a couple of times. And he a couple of weeks ago he's made a statement about y'all think he's from Tennessee, so he says y'all a lot. Y'all think that you saved freedom while all you did was attend a concert in New York, upstate New York, or something like that. It's like, why do you hate? Why do you hate boomers so much? He said, "Oh, while your parents were saving the world from fascism, you were just throwing a concert." And he said everything. He blamed everything that's wrong with society on the boomer generation. So Wednesday
Really?
night, Craig is going to come on the program because he's a boomer, and we're going to kind of snap back at Billy about his take on boomers being the cause of everything that's wrong with America. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that's just absurd. I mean, our generation, I was a little bit, a couple of years younger than the Woodstock generation, but uh, there's nothing wrong with peace and love. It might be a little cliche, but it got lost a little
You know,
bit after our comeuppance, And I think that the younger generation now, I'm big time an environmentalist. I built a greenhouse, and I see that the younger generation now is kind of stepping up a little bit like we stepped up in the 60s, you know,
Yeah,
with
I
a,
think
with a lot of crappy stuff going on in between. I don't know.
I think it goes every single generation flips. So the boomers were definitely hippies. They were definitely more, politically to the left. Now, I'm not, it's not necessarily Democrat, Republican, but politically to the left as far as anti-war and environmentalists and all this stuff. The very next generation was the generation that Michael J. Fox was portraying on Family Ties, where
Right.
the next generation were Reagan supporters, hardcore Generation X, and then the next generation flipped back to the left, and then it's to the right and to the left. So every generation kind of goes back and forth.
It's really
But
true.
laying it all on one generation is it's the same as racism, ageism, sexism, all that kind of stuff. You're lumping people into a group and
Right.
saying you're all responsible for this problem. You're all this way, whatever. So we have a big debate to go on.
Yeah, I agree.
Defense of the boomers is what we're calling the show Wednesday night. But I
The
just want to get
what of the boomers?
I was going to say defense, but I think it's
Defense.
revenge of the boomers. I just want to get as much perspective to come into this stuff and kind of not because I'm being a boomer. I feel like I have a dog in the fight, so obviously I'm going to be defensive about. I want to come into it with an even keel and say, what did we get right? What did we get wrong? And how much are we really responsible for? It's, because nobody can be responsible for everything. We come into the world as you get a voting age. There are 3 or 4 generations before you that are really the majority still as you get to turn voting age.
And
Then
now
as you Right, as you get older, the next generation comes in. You are never the sole reason behind any movement.
But we're all responsible, and I don't know, the separation of the generations with the, our category names. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know that makes a lot of sense. I have friends of every age, and we all have to take part in our world. We all
agree.
have to care.
Are you an activist with lyrically? The songs that I have heard of yours, I have not heard that.
No, I really, really want to sit down and write some songs that are that express that. I have not done it. The last couple of years of my life, I've been caregiving my mom. I still am. So this gig that I'm doing is the first gig I've done in a while. I guess a lot of people are in that boat because of COVID and such. But
first, I got to say,
I don't have any environmental songs, and my next one will be.
God bless your mom.
Write an environmental song on this show.
Okay. God bless your mom, because when I see somebody my age talking about their parents still alive, I'm always in awe, because it's just yeah, listen, again, we're not kids, and just thinking she had to be at least 20 when she had you, right? Or
My mom's 89.
Yeah, well, not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
God bless her. I hope she has a long life left. But you don't see that much of it anymore, and it's good to see when I hear somebody my age say my mom. I'm like, yes.
I have a friend who I was just talking to them the other night. Actually, Jackie did a show in Oyster Bay, and I went and saw an old friend, and his mom is 100.
Wow.
And he's caregiving her. I think the generation before us, those are the people who have lived the longest.
Yeah.
I think the life expectancy is waning right now, is going down, but they are living the longest. Our parents.
I don't know that that's factually correct, but I believe that's the assumption.
Well, you have your disclaimer at the front, so
yeah. Now, this idea of writing a activist song, whether it's environmentalism, whether it's about politics, whatever, can you approach songwriting that way with an intent of, I'm going to write this kind of song? Can you do that?
Yes.
I have difficulty doing that.
I have done it I've written songs all different ways, and sometimes I think we were even talking about this. Sometimes, if you give yourself a directive and you say, "I'm going to write a song about something," which I have, I've written songs for independent films. A couple of friends of mine, John Lauder and Leslie Stoller, we produced a show right before COVID called Really Big Shoe, and we had to write a theme song. So we had to sit down and write the song about the upcoming show. And when you do that, sometimes it comes right away. Sometimes it can never come, but whatever you come up with, it's an exercise in kind of getting it done,
Right.
Um,
How prolific are you? How often do you write?
I haven't been writing recently.
Right.
The songs I want to play for you were written several years ago.
Okay. But so when you were more active writing than you are now, did you have like a discipline, like a set schedule, like every day I'm going to write, or did you come at it whenever the inspiration hits me?
My band and I used to get together, the songwriting team of myself, Jack Hoffman, and John Collis got together every Friday night to write.
Very cool. Now,
Yeah.
I've never been part of that in my life. I have co-written a couple of songs with other people, but it always turned out I got an idea. Here it is. I put it on cassette. Or I'm talking now, giving away how long.
Well, we've already dated ourselves. So.
Take the cassette home and see if you have any ideas on it. But never actually sat in a room with somebody and said, "Let's write." That's a whole different thing.
Yeah, that was a really joyous process,
Right.
because we all approached it a little bit of well, we didn't approach it a different way, but we all had different talents. And Johnny would we would just be drinking beer and he'd just start playing a riff. And maybe I'd start going, da, 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 whatever melody to it. And Jack would start banging on the table to guide its rhythm. And it would, those germs became our songs. I always wanted to get those sessions on tape so they could be
the basement tapes.
Followed. What, the basement tapes? Yeah, well, we were in my studio.
Yeah, wow. But somebody banging on a table makes it more like that experience of this is it. This is what you're getting is the raw, like birth of art type of experience, which I love.
Yeah,
Not
we
necessarily for people who aren't artists in some aspect of their life. If they're not doing something creative, I guess they wouldn't appreciate that whole process as much as somebody like me. But I love that stuff.
Well, everybody's got a creative side. I think everybody could appreciate it on some level that something's being created out of whole cloth, out of thin air.
Yeah, I hear you.
And a lot of people are like, "How the hell do you do that? Like, how does that come?"
Right.
And I think it comes from without. I don't know.
Were you a Beatle fan growing up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch the Get Back sessions on Disney?
I did not.
Oh my goodness,
I've heard of them. I don't have the Disney Plus.
I just bought it for that because I got the free trial for that, and then dumped it 2 days later and watched all 10 hours in one night.
And was it that same kind of thing? Just watching the process?
Yeah.
Cool.
But the thing that got me was Paul McCartney beating the songs into being. What you see him with songs like Get Back, and he's just slapping on the bass, not like really playing, but just like wailing his hand on it and just batting out the rhythm. And he's just like going through the melody, and it's like the words are out there somewhere, and he's just kind of pulling them in. Oh, write that down. And the way the songs came together, it just was fascinating from a songwriter's perspective to see how, at least for McCartney, who is, melodically one of the greatest songwriters ever, how he finds the lyric. Because for him, it does seem to almost come always melody first. It's sometimes with a rhythm behind the melody, but then the lyrics are a case of tuning it in from a universe where those this sounds
Yeah.
really cool. Uh, a universe where the lyrics already exist, and he's just a radio trying to say, "I can't hear it clearly." Can you know? It's just so fascinating
I
to
love it.
watch.
It is fascinating.
Yeah,
And when it happens to you, when it happens, in real time, it's like a miracle,
right. Now, do you play anything besides the guitar? Do you play other instruments?
No, and I play guitar terribly.
And we're talking about process.
I'm just a rhythm guitarist.
We're
It's good
talking
to
about
write and
process here. And I know there are lots of different ways, but is the guitar always in your hands, even if you're just right? If a lyrics first, do you need to hold it? Like I noticed you started holding it even before you went on the air this morning, and that's fine. I am the same way.
yeah,
But
if I'm writing, I won't write unless I'm playing something.
were you a singer before you picked up the guitar?
Yes.
Okay, your voice. And this is meant as a compliment. I'm always when I'm giving an
Oh,
honest assessment, and I'm
it's
always
good.
a little bit weird that somebody's going to take it wrong. It's very much a compliment. Your voice, um, it sounds extremely young. Like the minute the first few notes I heard in Someday, I thought this is this is a young girl. This is a teenager. Um,
Not
did you get? Did somebody ever? Is that the first time you've heard that?
No, I hear that quite often, actually.
That so how do you keep that quality?
I don't know. It's how I it's how I connect to my songs emotionally.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, it does.
to,
It does.
to
Absolutely.
yeah.
Big part of singing, and this is something that has eluded me, and I'm definitely improved a lot over 60 years of trying. But a big part of and singing is mental, and I never kind of realized. Sometimes it's how you think about the note. Ken Tamplin was talking about this. The way you think about the note can can direct your body into a different place to deliver that note. And I'll give you a clear example of what I'm talking about. People in the Star Spangled Banner tense up on that land of the free, right? That high note at the
Right.
end.
Yeah.
And they get all tense about it. They've already sung that note before. In the rocket's red glare, same note, but you think of it as a different note. Like, oh, this is the high note at the end, and that's why you tighten up.
Right.
And so the thought of it being the high note changes your approach to it, and it becomes more difficult to get out. It's just a very strange thing. So yeah, your spirit and your mental approach to singing definitely affects your voice in a much more profound way than I ever knew about. Do you put a lot of thought into those things, or you just sing naturally?
No, I'm an actor as well, and so it all is connected for me. When I'm singing a song, um, I much prefer to have an audience, because to me that's, even if I'm singing to one person, it changes the way I sing the song, because now I'm communicating the song to that person,
Right.
and I want them to know. Most of my songs are, there are my old partner Jack. I always said he was the poet, and we would do songs together, which melded these two things. But I'm a storyteller, so when I'm singing a song, I'm telling you some story, beginning, middle, and end, and I want to I want you to get my story. I want you to get it. So I'm in a way uh, acting as I'm singing, because
Right.
it's about connecting emotionally. The song just doesn't get sung.
Is
It's a
it?
whole thing. It's a little encapsulated being.
Yeah, I get that so much
Excuse me.
in
I'm
that.
just getting over being sick. So
That's well.
when I
I hope.
sing for you, I'm going to make that excuse again.
Yeah. Okay. um, I understand that, especially, I've written thousands of songs.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, there was a time for 40 years I wrote 20, 30 songs each day, every single day.
And
Uh,
what instrument do you play? You play guitar?
I play everything. My main instrument, I mean, I started on banjo, tenor banjo,
Wow.
not even 5 string, not even bluegrass, cool banjo. Tenor banjo was toot toot tootsie goodbye. The strumming,
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
the ragtime stuff.
Fun.
My mother was evil. Uh,
Why? Because she put the banjo in your hand?
no. So, but I play everything. I play guitar mostly in the band, but I've never considered myself a lead guitar player, although I am the only guitar player in the band right now, and for the last 25 years. But I'm not a soloist. I'm not a guy who can just, take you on a run and just keep jamming forever and never hit a bad note. I got to think about what I'm going to play. I have to have a plan, and if I go, you ask me to take another 4 measures, you're like, oh man, I have to be creative on the spot with people watching me. That's not happening.
I'm sure you're good at what you do, though. Not everybody can do that.
Well,
I would love to be able to play leads, and I'm going to learn someday.
yeah. So, with you, so the singing came before the guitar playing, and
I've been singing since I've been talking.
were you writing before you started playing guitar?
I think it all happened together. I wanted to write, so I needed some music. So I picked up the guitar and started learning. I learned a couple of chords, wrote a song with a couple of chords, needed another chord for this thing I was thinking about, so learned another chord. So they happened simultaneously. I'm so sorry about the dog.
That's fine. We love dogs.
It's my mom's dog.
The show has dog right in the name.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So and now this part about the storytelling, because as a songwriter, and this is why I started to tell you about how many songs I've written. As a songwriter, I get how you want people to really understand the song, but for me, a lot of my life has been playing in nightclubs and bars, and people are drinking, they're scoring drugs, they're trying to hook up for the night. They're not necessarily listening to lyrical content. And if you ever stop to try to describe what a song and what's behind the meaning of the song, you're not going to generally in those environments be welcome or meet
I totally agree. Even in like a folky environment, I have a little intro and I'll introduce a song, but it's not really, I'm not going to tell you exactly what the song is about.
Right.
I just want to be able to
give you an idea.
It's the emotion of it. It's the, I'm telling a story about love. I'm telling a story about heartbreak. I'm telling a story about, sometimes my songs are a little funny or whatever.
Right.
So if you follow them lyrically, you're more likely to follow a song lyrically if you're in a little cafe,
right,
listening to a folky.
So that's what I was getting at. The song break thing seems to be like for a songwriter,
right.
like the kind of thing that would really, at least I know, even if there's only 5 people there, they're going to be people who are interested in songs. They're not just looking to dance, or they're not looking to get a bag of Coke, or they're not looking to meet somebody. Some
Right.
they are too, but. All those things could be possible, but they're there.
Hot date, yeah. And I think our audience will be varied in age.
Right.
I definitely have people who hear my songs. I've been, my mom's been in and out of the hospital and rehab and assisted living. I sing in all those places. I always have my guitar with me.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah, I do it 3 or 4 times a week at different facilities. Sometimes it's walk around. Sometimes I do like 2 or 3 days a week. I will do full on shows in like the cafeteria or auditorium or something.
Oh.
Most of the time, I'm doing walk around, which is going to the rooms with a guitar and just saying, "Would you like some music?" And play a couple
That's
songs.
exactly what I would like to do. I've been singing mostly for my mom. That's very interesting that you do that.
I
I'm
will
gonna,
get you
I'm gonna
if
pick
you
your brain about that.
if you're looking to do that. I can open some doors for you, and some of it is, I started doing it as volunteer 50 years ago, but most of the time now it's paying work. So there's that too. I mean, I don't say no to the money, even though I would do it for free. Um, but now I'm gonna let you play because you're holding your guitar here. I know you want to play.
I do.
Because we're talking about songs, and I'm going to ask you about the songs you're going to play. Hopefully, not one of them is someday, because I wanted to play you out with that later
Okay.
when we end this thing. But when you talk about songs, I'm thinking of Chris Christopherson in the back of my head talking about Jack Elliott. Jack, it's great that you want the people to know what the song's about, but at some point you got to sing. Shut up and sing. So there is a fine line about how you approach that. What are we going to
My
hear?
intros are very, very short. No, you can't. It's about the song. It's not about the story. And quite honestly, there's got to be some mystery there.
Yeah, I think with Jack, it was just about he didn't have that much material. He only had 5 songs, and he had a 3-hour show to do, so he was going to sit there and talk a lot. What are you going to play for us today?
This song is called, this is my little intro to it. I was inspired to write this song because there was a travel agency on Jericho Turnpike in Westbury. And they had a big sign. I used to drive past it all the time. And they had a big sign in the window said, "Please go away."
Oh, I get it. It took me a second. What?
So this song is called "Go Away."
All right. Give me 1 second. I want to just,
Yep.
I'm going to take me out. So you're going to see this.
Okay.
And back here, I'm just going to change sound settings so we get the best possible audio for you. I'm going to mute me. Hold on, let me mute me first. So you're not going to hear me. Wait just 1 second. So just count to 3.
Here we go. It's called "Go Away." Well, go away, get out of town, relax your body and party it down. There are places you could go to tan your body brown. Find a beautiful place to rest your mind and contemplate. Leave the country, leave the state. Please just go away. How far can you go? Nova Scotia, Mexico. I'll be happy when I see you finally go. So go away with no delay, 'cause I can't stand it one more day. Take a boat or take a train. Please just go away. How far can you go? Why not hop a flight to Tokyo? You may not really care to go, but I'm begging you, please. Oh, go away, way far away. Go so far as to stay that way. Don't hesitate, expatriate. Please just go away. For God's sake, go away. Why not leave today? Book that flight today.
Very cool. Very cool stuff. Now, do you have a background in music theory? Do you know? So basically, you self-taught on the guitar, or
Yep.
so that's interesting because when you go into the studio now, are you relying on everybody else to write their own? I hate to say write their own part, but come up with their own. It's weird.
Yeah,
The
that is
songwriting is
the
a
kind
weird
of
thing.
yeah, that's the kind of collaboration that we always did. I mean, I would I'm like a melody person. I have melodies running through my head. So if somebody is going to be playing a lead part, I will say, I hear it kind of going up, and I'll maybe guide that person. But everybody brings their own vision of a song to the table. In
Wow.
the records that I've made, everybody's a creative force. I don't write. We don't write charts for anybody.
I love that, but I can't. I've never been able, and I think I'm the problem, honestly. I think I'm the problem with collaboration and being a well, there's a lot of parts to it. Moving parts here. First of all, I am a bit of a control freak, but I when you talk about having an idea about where movements can come in and changes and emotional changes and waves within a song, I have an idea about how to create that in the studio, production wise, before I go in. So I wrote a song and I wanted to have this kind of place where there's a transition, and I have an idea about how to achieve that. And then if somebody else comes up with too much input, I'm afraid it's going to ruin my
So
production
so you
ideas.
write you're because you're a real musician, a much better musician than I am. I'm a singer songwriter,
I
and
would
I
give
play
anything
the
to be that.
guitar to facilitate that. And I love to collaborate with people. I could sing a harmony to anything. I think it might be the reason that I never got good at reading music, because I hear something and I hear the harmony to it, and it's a I hear it, so I don't need to see it written
Right.
down, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I totally envy like people who really know music in the ins and outs. So you seem to be somebody who goes into the studio and writes all the parts. Like you could electronically do all the parts yourself, right? Because
I almost I've done, oh God, how many recordings? Definitely for myself, for my own music, over 1,000 recordings. And I can count the times I actually played with a full band or somebody other than me playing the instruments on probably maybe two hands, maybe 7 or 8 times.
yeah,
Most of the time,
those are two different ways to do it,
I
for
hate
sure.
it. I hate my way. I want your way. I've always wanted your way.
My way includes much more beer and pot. That's all I can say.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no, I'm good with that. P but the idea of, first of all, having somebody else to bounce ideas off of, and rather than everything coming from me, I like that. And, I play a lot of instruments, but I'm not the guy I would want if, lead guitar parts, I would hire a really good lead guitar player, somebody who is a specialist, a lead guitar specialist. If sometimes I've played sax on records where I'm like, damn, I hate what I'm doing here, but where am I going to find a sax player who can come out to Shoreham, Long Island on a Saturday night? I want this thing out by the morning. I'm very impulsive like that. Like, I'm going to start recording. I'm getting it done tonight. This is going to be a one session thing, and I'm going to publish it by the morning.
I would love to be able to do that. I
Yeah,
would love to be able to do that,
and I'd love to be able to
because
do what
you
you
can
do.
make it happen by yourself,
Yeah.
but you always want what you don't have.
But and I'm very limited vocally, so I've been working on the singing part of it. That's a frustrating thing for me because I write for really good singers. I write parts that are hard to sing, and
Ah,
I'm not a great singer. Not a
see,
good
now
singer.
when I write, I write within. It might be a little bit limiting, but perhaps it just creates my little world and my style. But I write within my voice.
Right,
I write for my voice. I
right.
I wouldn't start singing a melody unless it was something that was right where right in my sweet spot, or one of my sweet spots.
I get that. This is, you know what, that's a good point, because when I write something, I'm generally not singing full voice like I would sing it. I'm hearing a melody and I'm writing it on top of music. And then when I say, for me, if I'm going to sing it, I got to transpose the key. So I've completely written the song. I know how it goes. Now I got to fit it to my voice and change and find out where it's right for my key.
Can I just say something?
Sure.
It seems like I didn't mention that the other featured songwriter in Song Break with me is Martha Trachtenberg, who was a founding member of the Buffalo Gals. They were like a bluegrass, old girl bluegrass
Right.
band in the 70s. And I think what we're doing right here, right now, is kind of what Song Break is going to be that Sunday. A discussion of how you write songs, what's the process, and what's this song about. And it's got to be a little bit of a mystery, but I'll tell you this much, and I'll act it out for you, or whatever.
Right. Now we have
the audience will be as engaged.
We have to market this to songwriters, because these are not just songwriters, but the songwriters especially are going to love the show. I know the marketing has changed. Have you changed with the times in order to be able? Because promoting shows when you're a kid is easy. You just tell your friends and they spread the word. And as you get older, it becomes more difficult. The promotional part starts to get more difficult. In today's day and age, it's all about social media marketing and all that stuff.
I'm not good with it.
Yeah. I will share the information, the flyer, and all that stuff, and I'm just gonna show the flyer here while I talk to you for a minute. There's a flyer. I'll share this in all the songwriter groups I'm on Facebook,
Thank you so much.
and Twitter and all that kind of stuff. But so I'm just gonna read off this, and we'll come back in 1 second. Song Break is with Linda Sussman and Josie Bello, Sunday, April 30th, 2 to 3:30 p.m. Music conversation with guest singer-songwriters Martha Trachtenberg and Nancy Sirianni, and tickets are $10 at the door at the Walt Whitman birthplace, 248 Walt Whitman Road in Huntington Station, New York. Now, there's an actual building that is like a little theater there, the Walt Whitman birthplace?
I haven't been in it, but from what I hear, it's Walt Whitman's birthplace home. Right, like he lived, I think, out by you in Shoreham, or someplace out further out east.
Yes,
but this is the home he was born in, and I think they've turned it into a performance space.
Wow!
So it must be maybe one big room downstairs. But I'm
very cool.
Again, the disclaimer: I could not be a fact.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing it, and I didn't even know, because I know in Huntington they have lots of cool stuff. For singer-songwriters, they have Heckscher Park up there. They have lots of little music festivals up there. It's very cool.
There are so many great singer-songwriters on Long Island.
Right.
So many.
This is true.
And people do come out. Songwriters do come out to hear other songwriters. There's always other performers in the audience.
Now, is this something that is planned to go on and on, like a regular?
I think so. This is the first time they're doing it live. Because it was just online until now.
Right.
So they're calling this the inaugural one, which implies that they'll do it again. But maybe this venue has bought into doing the show on a regular basis. That would be great.
Yeah. Do you plan on going to do a site survey, see the venue? I would want to.
You'd want to see it before you played it?
Yeah, well, because especially if it's a room I've never played before, I'd be a little, especially with original music. I want to make sure everything is right. Like if doing cover music, I don't care. I'll go up, set up a PA system, whatever the room has to offer, I'll work with. But if I'm doing my music and exclusively my music, and it's something I want people to really get, I really want to have. See, again, I know I have a control.
Yeah, that's a control thing, Matt.
Yeah. I know.
I don't think I've ever seen a venue that unless I've played it before. I'm walking in cold all the time. But I definitely want to know, what's the sound system? Are there monitors? Will I be able to hear myself?
Yeah.
And this place apparently is acoustically really nice.
That's what I was hoping.
Yeah. I love it when it's acoustically nice. And we're going to get together, Martha and I haven't met her before, but we've been communicating just on Messenger or whatever. But we're going to get together and we're only playing 6 songs a piece. So it's back and forth. Josie's going to do a song and Linda's going to do a song. And a lot of that hour and a half is going to be audience talk back, or at least whatever, an hour and a half for 6, 8 songs. That sounds right. But we're going to play our songs for each other and pick out some harmonies.
Are you going to?
Definitely will be a little bit of a collaboration that day.
I was going to say, are you singing harmony on some of this, and that kind of stuff, adding harmonies? And
I can sing a harmony to anything, and I think Martha is kind of leans that way as well. And if I don't, if you don't know the words, don't try and sing the words. But there's always an ooh or an ah or like a pad, a vocal pad that you can fatten up a song, and it just makes it exponentially better and a little produced in that live setting.
I have a question, and you might not have an answer. I mean, this is probably an question for a vocal coach, but it's something that drives me crazy. The lead singer I've been working with for the last 25 years is a good singer. He's on pitch, got good pitch, really strong voice. Impossible to sing harmony. He will sing the note. If I'm trying to sing harmony with him and he hears me doing, if I'm
he
too
starts
close,
singing your
he's
note.
going to jump on my note no matter what. He can't. And if I'm singing lead, like I sing lead on 5 or 6 songs a night, when he goes to sing with me, he wants to sing my note. It's just like we don't need double tracking here.
There are great singers who don't do harmony.
What's the in your guess, I guess I'm going to say, what is the key to understanding, where to go pitch wise for harmony and having a natural ability to do it?
I think it's just a natural ability. Like that's when with my band, the Scoldies, me, Jack, and Johnny sang 3-part harmony like we were born to do it. And the band's been split up for many years. We still love each other, and we'll get together every once in a while, once a year. We just kick right back into our harmonies. Right. They come so naturally. And it's not that we didn't learn that with each other. The reason we were together is because that was something that we found.
Yeah.
That we had already,
The family stuff.
We sing so great together,
Yeah, well, brothers and sisters who are close, and it just seems to come without any effort, without any when it's not forced at all, and that's when it's the most beautiful. And I love that stuff. I mean, harmony is like, it's a magical thing.
It is a magical thing. Just 2-part harmony is magical. And people that are not singers or don't, if they're singers and they don't lean that way, they hear those harmonies and they're like, that's a beautiful, magical thing. And you add a 3rd voice to it and people are like, how the hell do you do that? But it does come naturally.
Can I ask what that is you're holding? What is that guitar?
It's a Taylor.
A Taylor.
Yeah.
Is it a baby Taylor?
No.
Because we've been having a lot of discussion about this with my friends about neck radius and all this stuff. I find like Taylors have the easiest neck to on my hand. That it's easier to wrap your hand around it and all this stuff. And lately, I'm obsessed with like physical characteristics of the person. Size of your hands, the length of your fingers, how fat your fingers are, all that kind of stuff plays into the kind of player you become. But
that's probably true.
Finding the right acoustic guitar that feels just right and sounds great is not as easy as people think. I mean, and I know salesmen get really frustrated with this if somebody really is discerning about this. But I think a lot of times people end up buying a guitar for one of two: either it sounds good or it feels good. To get them both together is really a difficult thing, and sometimes that's.
I think you have to buy a guitar. You can't just say, well, a Taylor is my favorite guitar, and there's a really expensive Taylor that I want. Get that for me, or that's what I'm saving up to buy. You have to go. And my boyfriend Bruce wants to play guitar, and I said, if you want a good guitar, you have to go to Guitar Center or Sam Ash, or I don't even know where to go these days, and sit down and take guitars off the rack and play it. And if you like that guitar, you don't order one that's like it. That's the guitar. that you have to take home. It's a
Right.
really personal thing.
Absolutely is. It absolutely is. And if you buy it online, you're just going to get a generic thing, and you probably. This was my thing on Twitter last night. I was causing a war. I said we don't need any more guitars. America, we talk about number of guns in America, like 300, 400 million guns in America. There have got to be 750 million guitars that are sitting on shelves in pawn shops and Guitar Center and Sam Ash. And
So you're saying we have a guitar problem?
I think we do, because listen, honestly, I don't know how many guitars I have. I would have to think about it, and I have to go do an inventory. I know I play 3 or 4 of them tops. Generally, I play 2, one acoustic and one electric. They're my gamers that I go for, and I don't know how many I own. And there are lots of people like me, and there are lots of people who have guitars that nobody in the house is playing them, but they have 4 guitars in their house.
Yeah, I mostly play my Taylor, but I mean, I maybe have 6 guitars, but I don't have 30 guitars.
Yeah.
You probably have 100 guitars, right?
I don't know. Maybe. I have to do an inventory someday. Would you like to play another song for us?
Could I?
You could, definitely. Let me get out again. Yeah.
I'm gonna play you my lullaby. This is what I play for my mom before I leave her every day. This song is a lullaby for you. Sleep tight if there's nothing else you do. The world will be here in the morning, and you are such a tired girl. Take this love into your dream. Think of all of the lovely things you see. Forget the fancies in your head, 'cause it is time to go to sleep. So close your eyes for precious baby, I love you. I need to put my head down too. Tomorrow's light will never come if we don't take our just repose. So close your eyes for lullabies. Just close your eyes. 'Cause 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 'cause
Now, you're playing that with the capo. Did you write that with the? This is again, I'm just like a stickler for this stuff. But did you write with the capo, or did you write it open and then say, I need to be a little higher?
I wrote it open and put the capo on,
Okay.
which probably happens. I don't know. More often, I come up with the melody. I find it on the guitar, but my sweet spot is up a little.
Yeah. On Wednesday or Thursday last week, Thursday, Mark Farner from Grand Funk Railroad. Now, Mark Farner's American band, no longer with Grand Funk, for legal reasons. I have to say that.
Okay.
He was with me, and he talks about 432. 432 tuning. Are you familiar with it?
No.
Well, okay, you're basically what you're tuned to when what you're in now is A440. You're familiar with that A440
Yeah,
tune.
of course. Yeah.
So basically, what they're doing is taking the frequency, the A tune, and bringing it down 8 semitones. And you tune to that. It was a medieval tuning. It was what Beethoven and people used. But there's big controversy about all of this stuff. He tunes to it exclusively, and it is kind of a new agey thing.
Okay. What's it called again?
What?
What's it called again?
432.
432.
So if you take your tuner, there's a calibration on it. It'll come up and say 440, and you bring it down to 432. Now, I never experimented with it all, but a lot of people who are big proponents of it, it's magical. Everything just feels like more connected. There's this whole thing about guy did an experiment with water molecules and played 440A at like a certain decibel, and the water molecules just like break up and crystallize. If you play it at 432, it's like a perfect circle, and it's like
interesting. I'm going to look that up.
I tried it I tried it on Friday night and Saturday. I gotta say, I don't totally get it, but it did. The guitar is still in tune. It hasn't gone out of tune in 4 or 5 days now, whatever it is, 3 or 4 days, whatever. But it does feel a little. There's a certain sweetness to the tone. Now, a lot of people, music theory, poo-poo all the ideas and all that stuff. The problem is, for me, with moving to this, like, everything in the world is 440. You can't just retune an acoustic piano on set.
Right.
and drums and all these things that need to be retuned just to because
if you want to play with other people or you want to play outside your realm.
Yeah.
It's not going to match. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting though. I would like to. I'm going to.
Yeah, it's worth checking out and see if we're all crazy, if he's crazy, who's crazy here, or does it make any difference? If it makes no difference at all, then just stay in 440 where everybody else is playing. But I just wonder, for somebody like you,
even if it just inspires something,
Well, yeah, no, that too. That's what capos. I write with capos all the time because you just don't. Even if the approach is different, even though you're playing the same shaped chords, you just come up with a different melody based on how much higher it is or lower it is. But for somebody like you who sings harmony naturally in 440, I'm just wondering if you listen to any of this stuff, would it come as natural? It's just weird because it's not a pure tuning. It's not like putting a capo on. It's not like a half step up or a half step down.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Anyway, it's been a pleasure to get to know you a little bit, and
my pleasure too. Thank you.
I always love talking to songwriters about the process they go through and all this stuff, and this is what this thing is all about. I have a feeling.
Are you going to come to the show?
What?
Are you going to come to the show?
I'm going to try to come to the show. It's pretty far from me. Yes, I plan on coming to the show. Problem is, and I hate to admit this, I'm really shy about going to shows by myself. I had to force myself to go to a couple of comedy shows by myself. First time I've ever done that. So it's always for me wanting to get somebody to go with me. Just even if it's not their thing, I just don't like going places alone. I'm really shy about that. I don't know why.
It's like going to school. It's going like first day of school, walking into class.
I always feel like people notice me if I'm by myself. If I'm with somebody else, I just blend in. But if you're all by yourself, people are like, who's the guy by himself? What's he doing here?
Well, we would love to see you and would love to have you.
I don't think Martha Trachtenberg would remember but she was part of the group that I had formed, Long Island Musician Support Network, 30
Oh,
years ago.
I'm sure
As
she
we,
will remember.
yeah, but she was one of the stars, one of the names that everybody knew, Jen Chapin and her, and there are certain uh, people in that genre that are just well known within every musician on Long Island knows them. So, but it has been a pleasure to get to know you. I wish you well with the show. I will do my best to be there. I'm not making any promises, but I certainly am going
Okay.
to try. And
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate you letting me promote the show. It was a pleasure talking to you.
I will do my best to push it in on all the groups that I'm in, and we'll see if we can promote it and get some people there. Now, the song I'm going to play as we say goodbye to you is "Someday." You sent me this track. I love it.
Thank
This
you.
sounds very jazzy. I love the stand-up bass in it, but your voice sounds extremely.
Yeah, this is the Scoldies. This was before the band split up. Never came out on a record, but one of our last things.
Now, I got to ask, what is the behind the name, the Scoldies?
Oh, I mean, it's such a stupid story, but it's such a real story. We just before we ever had a band, we would like sing in my backyard. We were always getting together and playing music before it was anything official. And we just drank a lot of beer and smoked a lot of pot, and we always got in trouble. We were always the last ones in the bar, and they were putting the chairs on top of the tables, and they're like, "Could you please go home?" Like we would get in trouble, but in a good way, because we were having fun and laughing. And my neighbor came outside at 2:00 in the morning and said, "Guys, it's really pretty. It sounds really pretty, but could you I'm trying to sleep." And we were like, "Oh, sorry, I guess we've been scolded." And for years before we had a band, we called ourselves the Scoldies. So when we were trying to figure out a band name and somebody said, "It's got to be the Scoldies," we're like, "That's so stupid." We came up with 100 other names, and we kept coming back to, it's got to be the Scoldies, because that was our name. I know it's a stupid story.
I love that story because I've been scolded many times. I remember 4:00 in the morning one time, sitting on my garage we were stoned as can be. We were sitting on the top of the garage playing music, and the neighbor yelled out, "Hey guys, it's getting kind of late, isn't it?" 4:00 in the morning, and I just yelled, "Pipe down, old man!" And now I'm that old man. Yeah, it's terrible.
Well, you still got to get in trouble. You got to have enough fun that you're getting in trouble a little bit.
Yeah, we're gonna play "Someday" for the folks. Nancy, thank you for coming, and please do come back sometime. And I wish you well with the situation with your mom. And I will be in touch about nursing home and assisted living centers.
Let's be in touch. I'd really like that.
Cool. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.
Thank you, Matt.
Bye. I'm gonna play "Someday," and I'm gonna take a break and show you the flyer as we play this, and I'll be right back.
That coat you wear does not hide the passion dance that plays inside. Your gloves so warm, they touch no one. But you can feel my hand, and I still believe that there is love this day, and I still can see you won't fade. Someday, and I will carry on. down in the soul, and you can free the past, and I still believe that there is love this day, and I still can see you. You won't fade away, but I know that you'll be gone someday, and I will carry on, but I know that you'll be gone someday, and I will carry on.
Beautiful, beautiful, man. I tell you, every time I hear it, I like it a little more. Really beautiful song there, and just taken by how young she sounded. First time I heard it, sounded like a 17-year-old girl. It still sounds like a 17-year-old girl. Most of us, as we get older, lose that quality, but it just has this innocence and this real purity. Kudos to the audio engineer on that, by the way. That's not when somebody is singing that much head voice, that much, up here and soft like that, to capture the emotion and the spirit of the song without getting a whole lot of noise. Tricky. Ooh, do you hear my voice crack? Tricky. I'm becoming Jordan Peterson again. Anyway, beautiful song. Love the acoustic bass on that. Just the whole treatment of it. Love the harmonies and really pretty melody. All of it. Really nice song. Anyway, I was so caught up in the conversation, I forgot to let you know about NancySirianni.com. It's scrolling across the bottom. It's also in the description, clickable. I'm not sure if the event for Song Break has a website, but we will look it up and definitely let you folks know about that. I'm going to put all the stuff in all the songwriters groups and musician groups I'm in. Just want to let you know about the crazy rest of the week that we have lined up for you, and then I'm going to go get some stuff done. Tomorrow, two shows. Billy Joe Gillespie, who is, what is wrong with my voice, Chief? Billy Joe Gillespie, who's a comedian from Arizona, will be, what is with this voice? Hold on here. Comedian from Arizona who will be with us during the morning show, Coffee with the Dog. And then tomorrow evening, my pal Henry Phillips, Punching Henry, Punching the Clown, the Highwayman, Henry's Kitchen, the amazing Henry Phillips will be with me tomorrow night. We may, this voice cracked one more time like that, somebody's going to get hurt. We may repurpose the show and run it as a morning show at some point. Wednesday, Rob Maybe, who maybe that's his name, maybe Rob Maybe, who somewhere out west, and I think he's another Arizona comedian. Might be Arizona, Colorado, one of those. Another time zone issue. Will be with me, and Jackie will be back. Jackie will be with me as well on Wednesday morning. Wednesday evening, Craig Johnson and Revenge of the Boomers, where we're going to kind of give it to Billy Wayne Davis, even though he probably won't be joining us to hear it. He'll have no retort or reply in this case. And then week just keeps going. On Thursday morning, Paula Jane Newman, who is a comedian from California, who's coming to New York, who to do some shows. Then David Lawrence on Thursday night, switching gears a little bit on the Mind Dog TV program. Are We All Biochemical Robots is the name of his book. And basically, it's a whole different take on the human experience and what we are. Friday, we'll wrap it up with Coffee with the Dog with Uncle Walt. We'll be back. Now, Uncle Walt has been on this program twice before. He is I don't want to call him a young comedian. He's a millennial comedian. He's not a kid. But he is going at comedy full time. This is his first year in comedy, doing comedy full time, stand up comedy, and has got some stories to tell from his first year in the business. Now he's going about it the right way, I have to say. He is definitely putting in the work. He's definitely got his ducks in a row. His duck in a row. He got his duck in a row. One duck. Not that difficult to put one duck in a row, is it? As opposed to a lot of the other comedians who are doing it the wrong way. Doing it the wrong way. You're not doing it right. Anyway, it'll be great to talk to Walt and catch up Friday. So we have a long week. And then I got shows this weekend. Gotcha and where else are we playing this weekend, folks? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just look at the website and find out. Anyway, full week ahead, and I hope you'll join me for some of those conversations. And check out Nancy's website and Song Break, April 30th, Sunday, April 30th, 2 to 2:30. And this is for local people only. I mean, I know people in the UK saying, "What the fuck does it matter to me where somebody is playing on Long Island in 2 weeks? I'm not going to be there." No, for the locals on Long Island. So we'll have more to tell you about as the week progresses with local shows and stuff like that. So thanks for coming. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in. And you know what? The coffee people are going to be a little bit angry at me, but for now, I'm just going to say, turn on your radio. Bye for now.
I
me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me now.